You may have heard Boeing's name in the news recently, and perhaps not for positive reasons. The company's struggles provide a harsh lesson about why psychological safety is critical, not just in a complex, high-stakes industry like Boeing's, but really in any kind of organization. In this video, I'm going to explore what we can learn from Boeing. Hey, how's it going? This is Scruffy Leadership, a YouTube channel about management and leadership aimed particularly at software engineers. In 2019, a Boeing 737 MAX 8 crashed shortly after takeoff from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. All 157 people on board were killed. This tragedy was the second fatal accident involving the 737 MAX 8 in less than 5 months, following a flight that crashed into the Java Sea in October 2018, a few months after taking off from Indonesia. Those crashes were over 5 years ago, but the problems persist. In just the first few months of 2024, there have been a number of high-profile news stories about safety incidents affecting Boeing planes. Many of Boeing's issues can be linked to a work environment lacking psychological safety. Psychological safety is the belief that your work environment is a place where you can safely raise concerns, offer ideas, and challenge the status quo without fear of negative consequences. A few weeks after that Air Ethiopia crash in 2019, an engineer at Boeing shared a complaint with management at the company. The complaint described how safety measures had been proposed to senior management, some of which could have prevented the crash. The safety measures had been rejected because they were deemed to be too expensive, multiple times. The complaint said, "Given the nature of this complaint, the fear of retaliation is high, despite all official assurances that this should not be the case. There is a suppressive cultural attitude towards criticism of corporate policy, especially if that criticism comes as a result of fatal accidents." The complaint also said that people at Boeing were afraid to speak up about safety concerns because they were afraid they'd lose their jobs. Elsewhere, Boeing employees have described a workplace where criticism was stifled and speaking up meant risking your job. A quality manager at Boeing said, for example, "It was intimidation. Every time I started finding stuff, I was harassed." This is an extreme case of an absence of psychological safety with absolutely horrifying consequences. Obviously, in the case of most software engineering projects, the stakes aren't quite so high, but the principles are the same. In Boeing, employees learned that if they raised concerns about safety, they'd be ignored or castigated or even fired. So what does that lead to? An environment in which people pretend everything's fine and they look for ways to cover up problems. And this is the point. Psychological safety is not negotiable. It's an essential feature of any healthy organization. If problems aren't being brought up, there's this short-term illusion that everything's safe and sound, and it's usually only when disaster strikes that the truth becomes clear. Now, you might think that the Boeing story is a bit too extreme, that you don't see that kind of behavior in your organization, and I do hope that's true. But psychological safety isn't just about the absence of intimidation, it's also about the positive presence of a healthy environment in which people feel not just safe, but encouraged to disagree and raise concerns. Boeing is a cautionary tale, demonstrating that prioritizing psychological safety isn't just the morally right thing to do, it's vital for the long-term health and safety of any organization. If you want to learn more about what psychological safety is and how to improve it in your company, check out the video that's on screen now. I hope this discussion has shed some light on the importance of psychological safety and the dangers of a culture driven by fear. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And also let me know if you have ideas for subjects you'd like to see me cover in future videos. Bye.